Welcome, everybody, to Who's Your Band? I am Jeffrey Paul. I am joined, as usual, with my co-host, Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
Wonderful, Jeffrey. How was a great weekend at gigs? How about yourself?
What kind of gigs did you do? We'll talk about my weekend in a second.
I was out on Long Island all weekend. I had two shows. I had one in Patchogue and then one in the Stony Brook Yacht Club.
How was that?
First night was very light. Second night was really good. It was a beautiful, beautiful venue. Older crowd, a lot of money, obviously a yacht club. So, not my demographic normally.
I think I did that gig a few years ago. I mean, I say a few years ago, I'm talking about over 10 years ago with Davin Rosenblatt and Rob Falcone.
It's a nice place, though. It's right on the water. It was a beautiful night.
Yeah.
But it was good. Good weekend. What about you?
Well, that's just the inspiration for this episode here, and we're gonna. And before I describe my weekend, I'm gonna bring in our guest right away. This guy is a really interesting dude, man. Our audience aren't gonna know because he's not a comedian, he's not an actor, he's not a musician, but he knows everybody. He is involved in anything that's going on. This guy always seems to pop up, This is Tom Borowski. Tom, welcome to the show.
Good evening, Jeff.
So one year, I'm up in Cooperstown, and I'm up there with my friends, and Lenny Dykstra is there. And the first time he never was really around, and I was excited to meet him because 86 Mets, a huge Met fan, and we're all online. We get his autograph, and everything, right? The next day, I'm looking at Facebook, and Lenny Dykstra somehow is in Tom Borowski's house in his pool. Like, how does this happen? I mean, this is I'm looking at Facebook, and this is one you'll like this, Sean. And this is like during, I think, a big Bruce tour. And then there's like a video or a pictures going around. I think it was Bruce on Tom Borowski's shoulders, and Tom is carrying. Is that true, Tom? Am I remembering that correctly?
I sang most of Hungry Heart with him and ruined it for about 30,000 people. And I am not sorry at all.
Yeah. I mean, whenever there's like these big moments, in 2015, I'm watching a Met game, Mets Cubs. Who is like there front and center, like who they're showing reaction shots? Tom Borowski. So this is who this guy is. All right. Amongst other things that he does as well. I don't know if he wants to get into it, but we could talk about it afterwards. You don't care. But you asked me about my weekend, right, Sean?
Yes.
Here's my weekend. Humbling is probably like the softest adjective I can use to describe it.
Okay.
All right. So you really start to figure out who you are and how age catches up to you. So Tom says, "Hey, Jeff, why don't you come and play in this baseball tournament?" And I'm like, "Well, Tom, I played baseball once in the last 46 years. Okay. And it kind of hurt me for over a month. I literally like walking, my back, everything." He's like, no, this will be good for you. I'm like an idiot. I listened to him. Okay. How's the competition? Not bad. Not bad. It's easy. Easier than Florida. Okay. Wrong. Okay. Guys in the minor leagues, intensity. Like everyone's in a men's league because the last time they played was 24 hours ago. Okay. The first day, I think I may have struck out. If I was up 5 times, I struck out 4 of them. And then the last time was the humiliating part. Right. And I'm starting to get a clue. Okay. I hit it like a ball that was hit pretty good, but I hit it down foul. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm like, I think maybe I have a shot here. Maybe I'll pick it up some point during the weekend, but no. What happens to me? Inside pitch. Okay. It hits me, but it hits the bat first. So I don't even get the base. Okay. I get a strike. It busts my finger. Okay, look at my hand. Look at my finger. Okay, it busts my finger. Okay, and I think on the next pitch I strike out, and then I'm unable to play in the tournament. But the team winds up winning the whole thing. Okay, well, I should have been wearing fucking a sundress and pom poms. Okay. Because I was a cheerleader on Saturday. That was my weekend.
Oh,
Tom, is anything I'm saying even remotely wrong?
I mean, you're about 85% accurate. I think you gave a very, very, I would say, grandiose version of what you did when you got hit on the hands. I think the pitch was basically right over the plate. You swung at it as hard as you could. It looked like a decent swing, except you brought your hands across the plate, and instead of hitting it with the bat, you hit it with your knuckles. I give you a lot of credit for staying in there and finishing the at bat. Steve Lyons, our coach, longtime major leaguer, they call him Psycho, by the way. Steve Psycho Lyons is like, I think that guy broke his hand. He's like, how is he even still standing up there? I could see it swelling from here instantaneously. It was like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Your hand started like growing. And I know you had a little bit of the Henry Rowengartner hand the next day where, you couldn't right. Bend your hand, couldn't make a fist, probably couldn't wipe your, I don't know if I could say that, but probably couldn't wipe your rear end for a few days. Hope you got, a bidet in your house or whatever it is you do. But your hand was definitely out of commission. But in a way, you shortened our lineup. So you did help the team in that way.
Interpretation of what that means, Sean, is me not playing and getting a bat helped our team win. Therefore, I
understand this, Jeff. I understand. It's kind of like if you had to bail off of a show and the show was like an amazing, friggin' life-changing comedy show.
Right. Like you have this all-star lineup and like listen, guys, I'm stuck in traffic. Hey, listen, we don't want you getting hurt. Right. whatever time you get here, it's great. If you don't make it, listen, don't worry about it. We'll still pay you. We'll still pay you. Right. Exactly. Has anything like that ever happened to you?
I've had some weird shit happen. Like my buddy used to always break my chops about going and bringing my glove to baseball games. And, the one time we went and Jeter threw me a ball and he got really pissed off. So the next time we went to Camden Yards, I didn't want to hear his voice anymore. So I was like, all right, you know what? Fine. I'm leaving the glove in the room. And we went to right field and we're in batting practice. And I'm like, oh shit, Johnny Damon hit a rocket right towards us. And I'm like, well, I don't need my glove. And I put my hand up and it got me. I mean, my thumb went from like a normal size thumb to 5 times the size within 5 seconds. Like it shattered. It shattered.
That hurts.
Just shattered.
That hurts.
That's why I always hated Johnny Damon, even when he was even when he was a Yankee. I always hated his guts because of that. I mean, I've had some weird shit happen. I was making a list before of like all these like embarrassing moments. I mean, I sang in a band for a long time, so like I'll never forget one of the times that I fell off stage. It was a high stage. It was
what's your name? Coleman Green?
Oh, dude, it was bad. It was really bad.
Have you ever seen that video?
Oh, I saved it. I have it down. I've jerked off to that video. Like that's one of my favorite videos of all time.
This comic, he's a sweet guy, right? I would say, what would you say? He's about maybe 390, 5'8", black guy, right? Coleman Green, be the prototypical nose guard if he was a football player, but but he does look like a peanut M&M, right? That is his body shape. And there's a video of him like he's talking and keeps moving back, and it's a really small stage, and he just like he's taking like the Nestle's plunge. He just falls, feet up in the air. It's hysterical. I think it's like a turtle because he can't get up. So he's walking.
Can we talk about Jeff? Can we talk about how you showed up to this tournament?
Yes, yeah. Go ahead.
We'll go back to it then.
Well, I mean, I just, another thing you left out is you showed up a day late, big timing, everybody. Everybody's there. We're knee deep into this tournament. You come rolling in late at night, wheeling like an expensive baseball bag that I kind of get the feeling just came from Dick's Sporting Goods. Might have still had tags on it. You got sunglasses on. You're waving your hand like Roger Dorn. And you walk in, making an impression. Everybody's like, "Oh, take a look at this guy."
Who's this fucking guy? Yeah, wow.
Borowski has another guy showing up.
This guy's a ringer.
So you get to the first game. and we give you a shot to play a little second base. And early in the game, you get your first opportunity. I might even say it was the first hitter since you entered the game hits a ground ball right to you. I don't think I remember that going too well for you. I was just telling Steve Lyons, listen, the guy will catch the ball, he'll throw the ball. I'm not sure about him at the plate, but I've seen him play catch. There's another guy on our team, Joe Gorglione. He works out with him a little bit. He's going to make, the basic plays. Slow hit ground ball right to you. Got in your glove. I was pretty happy about that. You grimaced a little bit, snarled your teeth, dig the ball out of your brand new mid or whatever it was, and went to throw to first and threw it about 20, 30 feet wide.
I threw it pretty wide. Well, here's what happened on that one. All right.
Who threw it better? You or 50 Cent?
Yeah. It had like a little bit of a spin on it. And I didn't know whether I should field it with my glove or my bare hand. I barehanded it. That's what I did. And I thought, like, in my head, I still thought, like, hey man, I'm 20-something-year-old Jeff. I could barehand it and make the sidearm throw. Yeah, I barehanded it. Okay. I was afraid I didn't want to like drop the ball, but I didn't. And then I made a completely wide. I think I threw it back to home. That's how wide I think this ball went.
Yeah, it was pretty wide.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't a good weekend. It wasn't a good way. The only thing that went well for me was I did get kind of a joke out of the finger. And that night on Saturday, I was at Laugh It Up at Cal's place, which Sean Moran's going to be on New Year's Eve this year.
Yes.
If people are listening. But yeah, I wound up doing a joke on it right up on top, and it went pretty well. So at least the comedy.
I debuted a new bit this weekend too, actually, for the first time since after the special is out. I'm going to be doing a new hour on the road. So I wrote this bit the day before, and it's basically how I messed up a ball at second. How I swung at a ball over the plate. But what, Tom, was the ball over the plate? I thought it was inside.
It was a strike. You're supposed to.
It was an inside strike.
I'll include you in on it. Since you're a couple years older than me, how our generation, like our age group, has it the worst because we are entirely too old to be woke, and we are entirely too young to be old and crotchety and complain about stuff. But I still have a lot that I want to complain about, but I'm too young. So now all I'm doing now is saying whatever the fuck I want, but I'm just telling people that I'm autistic.
I would believe you're autistic.
I think I am.
You have
actually, I really am slightly, but
yeah, you have the hair. Okay, that's
hair.
That's autistic hair.
It's just short.
It's
hair.
You that and comfortable shoes make you autistic.
I have comfortable shoes. I wear expensive. I wear expensive Nikes. I don't wear comfortable New Balances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, either that or you're a lesbian.
This is not a Skechers house. You know what I mean? I mean, I look like Mike Keegan, but I don't wear the same sneakers. You know what I mean?
I do, but Tom. But this is the part. Like, he figured you're my friend. You're gonna pump me up a little bit. Was there a second ball hit to me?
Yes, there was an even slower hit ground ball.
It was not hit slow
by their 9-hitter, and I think that was a gentleman named Larry. The average age on these teams is somewhere, between the late 30s to early 40s. Guys are in good shape. Like Jeff said, ex-college players, minor leaguers, some men's league guys. This was their 70-year-old man. Might have been someone's dad or granddad. So, I mean, he was really busting it out of the box, but, he wasn't going too quick. Jeff fielded it cleanly. Everyone on our side said, stop, plant your feet. And Jeff threw a strike to the first baseman. It was beautiful.
Threw his ass out.
By about 30 feet.
Right.
The defibrillator was ready in case if he actually tried to run, but you recorded the out.
Yeah, and I think I may have done like double guns.
You did. You definitely did.
I could have done double guns. Yeah. I could shoot him McGowan did. Tom, so Sean, I don't know if you know this about Tom is the owner of Black Betty's. Okay, you've been there before.
I did not know that.
Yes. Okay. Tom is the owner of Black Betty's. You've gone down before and you've done comedy there. Black Betty's is comedy is kind of like the Kumita of the comedy world. It's underground. Nobody's supposed to know about it. We don't talk about it. And if it comes up, you all deny it. All right.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Tom,
I love when they post pictures of it, and then there's pictures that are always posted of like the open mics and the shows and stuff. And I've been there, and every time I see the posts and my face doesn't make the picture, I'm a little happy.
So
I don't want to admit to it. I don't want to admit it either.
So Sean, I don't know if you ever went upstairs to
no, Jeff, I've never been upstairs at Black Betty's. I've never old, and I live 4 minutes from there. No, I've never been there, Jeff.
But there's a lot of flashing lights, and for the autistic, the flashing lights are a problem. It kind of sets them off. You're kind of like one of those gremlins. Okay, so I didn't know if you can handle the upstairs. I never seen you up there.
I'm looking at different lights. Yes, I'm okay. I'm looking at fried eggs.
Okay, so Tom, what was kind of like a weird thing, embarrassing thing there had to be something embarrassing that's happened at Black Betty that you've been part of. And by the way, for those of you that are not sure what Black Betty's is, it's kind of like a rock and roll strip club.
Yes.
Well, there was the time we had the ABC, a cop, and a social worker show up asking us where we keep our cages. That wasn't really very pleasant.
Your cages?
Yeah. So, the ABC, they kind of deal a lot with complaints, and usually, 99% of complaints against places like ours are pretty much bullshit. We had a probably a disgruntled employee or some woman's husband or ex-husband or baby daddy or take your pick, makes a phone call and says we have underage girls that we're imprisoning on site and forcing them to work there and doing all kinds of crazy shit. Of course, none of that is true. We would charge way extra for that. Basically, we had everybody show up all at the same time by surprise. Thankfully, I was there. The social worker, this was in 2021. So the social worker, who is a middle-aged Black woman with a crew cut, as you may call autistic hair, I don't know. But she
did she resemble Sean in any way?
It was tough to tell with the mask she had on. That's how I know it was 2021. It's right after the shutdown came to an end. But
Sean,
I
do you have a mask that you could put on?
Do I?
Holds his hand here a little bit.
Put your hand over your face. I just want to see if you look like an autistic Black woman. Yeah, I could see it.
He's a little pale. It's not quite same look.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what was serious or not. She told me her name was Cherry Bottoms. Swear to God. And I guess the right answer to that comment was not, "Is that your stage name?"
Did you say that to her?
I did in my head. When
Jeff goes to when Jeff goes to his special club in New York, he's actually called Sloppy Bottoms. I don't know if you knew that or not.
But a lot of people don't know
that's when he works at the Manhole. I know that club.
Yes. A lot of people don't know that about me.
Yeah, Sloppy Party Bottom. Anyway.
After Sean had to interrupt with that awful joke. Go ahead.
I could wrap that one up pretty quickly. It was basically it was open and shut, but we had to cut the music, turn the lights on. I got a guy in a suit, a cop with a gun, and Cherry Bottoms walking around asking people questions, asking the girls if they've ever been locked up in a cage, like ridiculous things, and I had to stand there. I'm like, there's no cages, Cherry, no cages. Well, what about upstairs? I want to go upstairs with the girls alone. And then she asked the cop to come up as if we're going to throw her out the window or something. It was, the whole thing was a charade, I should say. It was all a joke. It was all laughable. But there were some things, I probably shouldn't share for legalities, but there were a lot of really rough questions they asked the girls in front of us. Thankfully, none of the girls had an infamy that day. answered everything the right way, and we got him out of there. That was, that wasn't our best day there. We've had a couple embarrassing things. We had the time that we were threatened by, some guy in Iraq, telling us he was going to, he was declaring a jihad on us. That is a true story. There's no joke here. You know about that one, right?
No, but how's that? But the thing is, how is this embarrassing?
Well, I mean, it happened in front of the internet.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. Keep talking about.
These are good things, but it's not embarrassing. It's not as embarrassing.
That you have everybody walking the bar. It's on. You got Cherry Bottoms walking around with a cop, who's looking to free the little kids from Temple of Doom or whatever he thinks he's doing. They asked my shift manager.
I guess the story I'm trying to find was. You ever have anybody go into the lap dance room? They come out and they have a big like milky circle around their fly area, and they're walking around. And they don't realize it.
I'm going to plead the fifth on this one.
Some guy just expels in his pants and just continues. Have you ever gone to and done comedy out in the Midwest, Sean?
Virginia,
that's not the Midwest.
It's more south.
When you go out there, Tom, they have like clubs like yours, but they'll have like lunch specials, right? So I'm out, and I'm doing a weekend with this guy, and we're together Thursday through Sunday. So it's one of those type of runs, right? And we wind up. He's like, "Hey, let's go to lunch. I know a place." So it winds up being like strip club, but it's a nice place. They have a lunch.
You were there for the steak, right?
Yeah. Well, we ordered burgers. He says the burger here is good. He's wearing he's wearing sweatpants. He goes, "I'll be right back." He goes to get a lap dance. He comes back and he shot a load. He eats his hamburger. He drinks a beer. Goes back. Gets another lap dance, shoots another load, and I'm like, "What do you do?" He goes, "The thing is, you wear the sweatpants and you don't wear underwear underneath because that's the only thing that's separating you from you and the girl, so it feels more sensual." I go, "That's pretty nasty." He goes, "Nah, it's not nasty. You go back to the hotel and you take a shower."
What kind of pills? Oh. I was going to say, what kind of pills is he taking that he's shooting double loads while eating a hamburger? That's pretty crazy right there.
Yeah, he had a great sex drive. I almost envied this guy.
25 years ago, we used to go to this bar called AJ's in Secaucus, which I think is still open. They used to do comedy in the little room to the side of it called the Blue Room, right? But my friend Anthony, we call him Squid because he is a little slimy and greasy in Italian. So he's been Squid since high school. He is an aficionado of getting lap dances. That is his thing. And one time we went there, it was me, him, and my friend Joe. And as soon as we walked in, like within 5 minutes, he's gone. Right. And we're not even paying attention. We go to the bar, we're having a drink. It was like, I think it was Monday Night Football. It was something. We were just having a good time. It's like an hour and 15 minutes later, and we're like, fuck is Squid? And like, as we just turn our heads, and then all of a sudden we see him like walking, his shirt's all ripped open, his hair's all fucked up. I'm like, how many lap dances did you get? 24. I said, Jesus Christ, how many girls did you go with? One. $480 in lap dances from one chick in an hour and 15 minutes. That's a good. Let me tell you, that's a good fucking girl, man. Who can keep a guy going for an hour and 15 minutes.
He must have been like raw and chafed. No,
he was an animal. He was an absolute animal. Yeah, his bachelor party was just gross. It was back when I think Craigslist had just started, because we got married. He got married like 19 years ago, whatever. So it was like Craigslist was just getting going, and the worst. I mean, I guess there were hookers. I mean, I guess there were hookers, but they did like those.
Well, did they have sex for money?
They were just going at each other. You know what I mean? Like none of us
because they may have been hookers then. Tom, do you remember Oh, I don't know if you were there. I don't know if Tom was there, right? But it was at his place. So there's a comics league, fantasy football. I know you're a big fantasy football, Sean. And if you want next year, I'll try and get you into the league. But we had a draft there, and Tom was nice enough to provide us 3 girls, and there had to be at least 2 felonies committed downstairs in that room. It was insane. Mike Keegan was there. You're going to see Mike Keegan, right? Recently, you just saw him. Oh yeah. He's like the devil, just sitting there making it rain. Lawrence Deloche, Kenny Warren. He's going, lick that shit. It's like the real, black guy from the city. Lick that shit. That became the name of the league. Okay, lick that shit. And
Was that the event where one of the naked girls ripped one of the heavier guys' shirts off and rode him around like a rhino?
Yes, it
was I had some nightmares after that.
I think so. I mean, but there were 3 girls, and they were going to town on one. Holy shit! It was great. They still talk about this draft, and we tried to get it together so we could have it again there this year. But fucking Keegan, he can't do shit. One more thing about the weekend. Okay, I saw one of the douchiest things. Okay. So it's the Saturday game, and it's the game that's going to put us into the championship if we win. And it was really out of all games I've watched that's played by guys, it really was one of the most intense games. Real great pitchers duel. One guy out of his mind crazy. He's the pitcher on our team. He's kind of like he had a UFC mentality. He looked like a UFC fighter. Okay,
he is a UFC fighter.
Okay, almost got thrown out of the league the day before for fighting with an umpire against this other guy who Tom said was part of the White Sox organization. Okay.
Yes.
So I mean that matching zeros, and we're in the 8th inning, and our guy is clearly getting tired. But man, he is a competitor. He's not. You would have to shoot him before you took him out of this game, and they're trying to figure out should they take him out or keep him in. So Lyons makes the decision. He goes, no, I'm keeping him in. And then our third baseman, this was supposed to be like the Rudy moment, like the bell, the Rocky moment, that ding, ding, right? Like this is going to inspire everybody. He goes, the bullpen's calling, but nobody's answering. And I just looked at him. I went, yuck. Oh,
that's pretty
inspired bad. Nobody. Nobody cared. He just stood there with this fucking dumb saying after that. And he turned to me after I said, yuck. And he knew that this was a stinkeroo, and it just stayed in the dugout. Did you see that, Tom?
Yeah, I just chose not to acknowledge it. It was better to just walk away. Let him stand in it for a second.
Oh, man. I think my life is filled with these type of things. I remember one time I went to the movies with this girl. I was living in Staten Island, and the girl I was dating lived in Brooklyn, and I was in high school, so I wasn't even driving yet. So I would get dropped off from Brooklyn and stay at my cousin's house, and I'd go out with this girl. Do you remember there would be the midnight movies at remember it would always be either the Rocky Horror Show or something like that. You guys remember this? Okay, yeah. So right. At this time, it was The Song Remains the Same, right?
Okay.
It's a Song Remains the Same. I go to see that with the girl, and I'm trying to I'm going to be the funny guy. No one's going to out funny me, right? And it's just me and her. And there's a scene in Song Remains the Same where this girl is in a castle, and she's beautiful, and she's waiting for Robert Plant, and Robert Plant is coming on his horse. And then there's the girl's in the castle, and she takes off her not a top, but a little jacket, and she's just wearing this negligee, but it's like a medieval negligee, and she looks really hot. And Robert Plant is getting a little closer, and then she comes and she puts a little perfume on, and then Robert Plant comes in, and he busts open the door, okay, and then he goes to her, and she falls on the bed. And at that moment, this guy in the audience yells, "Fuck her brains out, Robert." And everybody starts cracking up. I'm like, fuck, I got to top this guy. So then I yell out, "Yeah, make cumsies."
Oh,
Nothing, silence. And the girl turns to me and goes, "Shut up, Jeff." That's embarrassing.
That's pretty bad, Jeff.
That's pretty bad.
is there a second date?
Oh yeah. Listen, when you have the confidence,
We're married 40 years now. So.
and then Terry said,
That's great.
"No, oh man, that was bad." Like I thought this was like on the tee, man. I thought this was like, easy. I'm gonna slam. I thought this was the funniest line. And nothing, just people in the audience like that, as a believer. Is that the guy who said that? Is that the guy?
You've been bombing since before you even started doing?
Yeah, even before I started my comedy career, I was bombing. I bombed. Oh, that was brutal. I don't know, man.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, that is a rough one. Yeah, but it just all this stuff started coming back to me because of this weekend. Yeah.
Was it that rough? You
Yes.
went home with a championship bat. You were part of the winning team. You got to high five guys.
I didn't. Yeah, I had to high five them with my left hand. Okay, I couldn't even do it with my right hand. So already it's awkward, and I look like a spaz as I'm doing it because I'm a dominant righty. Okay, I did nothing to earn this bat, and then everyone's taking pictures. Like I'm telling you, this was such a good team. Everybody contributed on this team except for me and this other guy. You know who it was? Sure. Do you know Eric Tartaglione?
Of course, I know Eric.
Okay, his brother was on this team.
Okay, does he have a horrible toupee as well?
Is he? I don't know. I don't know if he was horrible. Oh,
the toupee.
Have a horrible toupee as well.
Well, come on, that's his real hair.
Don't do that.
No, come on. Everyone's hair.
Well,
Mark
Mark got injured the day before you and wasn't able to go after that. So at least you had someone to talk to in the dugout.
Was he really that banged up? Was he?
He
jogged over to first base to coach.
Pride was probably really stinging after that first day.
What happened to him?
Who can say? He says he pulled a muscle in one leg, but he's maybe limping on the other. I don't know. He said he couldn't go. We weren't complaining. He definitely helped out. He warmed up some pitchers in between innings. He kept you busy in the dugout.
He did.
He was a team guy. Actually, he had a couple hits. He had a couple hits the first day. We were winning 11-1. They brought in somebody to basically mop up, and Mark got some swings in. He had a moment or two, and then he was out for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, the sad part is I wasn't even him.
You made that throw. You threw out Larry.
I did.
You didn't have a heart attack.
Was it Larry?
Oh, you know what, Mark? You were talking about embarrassing moments. Were you that? You were at the game where they threw Mark out of the game?
Yes, that was hysterical. Oh, I don't know if it was hysterical, but it was funny for guys playing baseball. Funny. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, I'm around professional comedians all the time. I think our level of what's hysterical is kind of like a little different. And you're also around John Kirshner and Matt Bridgestone. So come on.
Why do you hate John Kirshner for?
I don't like his hat. He's a grown man. He has to wear a baseball hat all the time.
You always wear baseball hats.
I never wear a baseball hat, except when I'm playing baseball.
How many times have I seen you wearing a dumb fucking baseball hat on this show?
Never.
Really?
I never wear a baseball hat.
I'm going to pull up. There's been about 13 episodes. I can't remember you wearing a dumb baseball hat.
No, I'm not.
If you're talking about embarrassing moments, do you remember when Lenny Dykstra asked to autograph your hat that you're wearing, even though you say you don't wear hats? You refused it?
No, first of all, was that when we were at filming the Lenny Dykstra short?
Yes, you were filming the short, and he asked if he had the marker in his hand, the brim in his other hand, and he's like, "You want me to sign this for you?" And you were like, "No, that's okay." And he's like, "You sure on the inside?" And you're like, "No, no, I'm good. I'm good. Don't touch my hat." And you took it and you walked out.
This is what I remember.
I've never seen that one before.
This is what I remember with the hat. I think in one of the scenes he had to wear a hat, and I had to give him my hat, and he was sweating profusely, and then went to give it back, and I was like, "No, it's okay. I didn't take the hat back."
You took the hat back, but you refused the autograph.
I don't
It was
remember.
a Mets hat. I asked you about it later. I said, "Why don't you have him sign it?" And you were like, "I wear this hat. I don't want his autograph on it."
Oh, I probably didn't. Listen. I have a Lenny Dykstra baseball. I have a picture. I bought his dopey book, and he signed that. Although he did write something very nice inside of it. No, I mean,
dopey book,
huh? Yeah. Oh, by the way,
dopey book.
Yeah. By the way, Sean, it's actually a good book. I read it. It's a good read. I finished it. I think in 2 days.
Good correction.
Sean, Tom, look at the hat he's wearing.
What?
Tom,
Expos hat.
Why do we? That's not a Mets hat.
It's an Expos hat.
Yeah. What do we think about guys who have Expos hats?
I mean, you're trying to show your knowledge of baseball. It's a little, edgy, right?
It's not edgy.
They're a defunct team. You're showing your knowledge of the game, your depth as a fan.
No, it's not. It does none of that. Why are you being like politically correct here tonight? No. Tom thinks like I do with this. Okay, we'll go to like a Mets Kansas City game. We went to a game this year, Mets Kansas City. As I'm walking in, okay, Mets are playing the Kansas City Royals. There's a guy, okay, who has to be wearing an Expos hat. You know why he's wearing that hat? Because he wants to show, hey man, I know a little bit more about baseball than the common guy. Pedestrian fans, they don't know baseball like me. Expos? Some people say, what is that? I say Montreal Expos. I know about this thing.
Maybe I got the fucking hat in Montreal, and we all got Montreal tattoos. So I got a fucking Expos tattoo on top of all of it. Maybe your analysis is a little fucking too deep, Jeff.
No,
I was just a fucking guys weekend. And I spent $45 on a fucking dumb Expos hat.
Yeah. Let's talk about. Yeah, you want real analysis? Here's the analysis. You're a big fat drunken guy with your friends. You went to a tattoo parlor, and all of you and you're drunken stupid. You know, it'd be really hysterical if you got Expo tattoos. And now you got to walk around with this.
No, they all got Montreal tattoos. Like some of them got Maple Leafs. Some of them
that's not Montreal. That's Toronto. So whoever got that is just as dumb.
Shit. They got Canadian shit like the Maple Leafs.
That's what I would have gotten. I would have gotten Canadian.
I said, you know what? Well, because you're half of a Fanook. You know what I mean? But I figured I love baseball. Let me at least get the freaking Expos logo as my contribution to everybody getting the Montreal tattoo. That's the reason why I got it.
So because you have this like Expos, did you wind up like studying the Expos a little bit? Like you're gonna have to know about the Expos.
I did like the Expos growing up. I mean, they were around when I was growing up because I loved Andre Dawson. I loved Tim Raines because I was one of those kids who loved like individual players as well as what was
Raines' first name?
Tim Raines.
Okay.
Not Rock.
Exactly.
Not Rock.
Yeah, right. The guy who wants to be the show off. The guy who wears like the Monarchs, the Kansas City Monarchs hat at a game. Hey man, I'm progressive. I wear Negro League hats too. He'll call Tim Raines Rock Raines. I never call him Rock Raines.
Ugh, that's horrible.
That's awful. Also, do you ever watch that show Porn Stars?
Of course.
Yeah. Corey is never referred to as Big Haas, only in the opening. That bothers me.
Is that show still on the air? Is this like a dated joke?
Yeah. I'll tell you though, the other show that I like, the guy died today. Did you see that, Jeff?
Who's that? John Amos?
American Pickers guy.
No, I never watched that show.
Shorter one, Frank.
Frank Fritz, 60 years old, so young.
60?
60.
It's surprising because he looked so healthy.
What did he look? I didn't. I don't know who this
he's
guy
snarky.
is.
I like him.
Oh, Tom is snarky.
Yeah, I like
Tom,
it. It's good.
Tom may not be displaying it now, but Tom is funny. You know what? This is the thing also with Tom. I want him to be in the Comics Fantasy Football League too, because he does get up and he'll do comedy. And if Tom learns the art of editing, he could actually be funny and get up and be able to do comedy. You could. He has funny stories. He genuinely loves comedy, which is, I think, a key requirement of this. Okay, I think Tom could be funny. And there are guys in the league who I think Tom probably gets up more than. We got to get you on a real show. Would you do that, Tom?
I think I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone on Boomer and Carton. I've gone on, half the ESPN shows. I think I can handle any of the Jeff Paul shows. I think I'll be okay.
I don't know if you can handle any of the Jeff Paul shows. I mean,
I was on Howard Stern. Howard Stern.
That's not doing stand up.
That's easy. I got stories. I'll tell you. You were talking about hookers before. I'll tell my hooker horses story.
Gee, everyone likes a good hooker story.
Hooker horses.
Hooker horses?
Yeah, because it's gambling. There's hookers. Something for everybody. It's like the Princess Bride.
See that's the humor right there. That's the joke. It's like the Princess Bride.
You don't know about hooker horses? I never told you about that.
No,
Atlantic City.
You never did. I see. Sean is also being. He's not being very generous right now. And what I mean by that, he has an embarrassing story that he's told on this show. And Tom, what do you think about this? Okay, you met Sean Morton tonight, right? Okay. So Sean Morton goes to a concert. And he doesn't have very good seats, but he wants.
No. This is not an embarrassing story. This is a fucking work of genius. Okay, this is not embarrassed. I was not embarrassed at all, at one bit. This is okay. I will tell the story again for Tom. You tell me.
Tell Tom this, and do not leave it because I will. I will
not leave one part of it out because let me tell you something.
I am like right now. I am like Dana Bash. I am going to fact check you. Go ahead.
Okay. In my 48 years, this is quite possibly top 3 of greatest things I've ever pulled off in my entire life. Okay.
So my
dear friend was a DJ on a radio station, and he had extra tickets for Metallica. So we all go down to Giant Stadium. He hands us 4 tickets. I bring a good friend of mine who's also a comedian, Joe Fernandez, and he hands us 4 tickets. Now I'm going to sit with Joe and my friend's sister-in-law and his best friend. We look second to last row from the top. No big deal. We're in the place. We got it for free. We're good. Now, mind you, in the parking lot before, completely inebriated. I am fucked up beyond all recognition. Okay. Get inside. Now, Joe does not drink, and the girls are just stoned, I believe. So we get up there, we're watching the show, and we are high up. The girls say, we have to go to the bathroom. So I go, Joe, let's be gentlemen. Let's take them down with us. Let's go down with them, whatever. We walk all the way down. As we walk down, we look over to the right, and I see guest services is right at the very bottom of the section. I go, guys, follow me. I walk up, and I go, hi. And the girl goes, can I help you? I go, can we get some better seats? And she goes, what's the matter? So I go, look, I don't want to make a big deal about it, but I'm a pretty famous comedian, and these seats are really, really high up. Plus, it's my friend's birthday. And she pulls out her license and she goes, here, and shows it. And it was her legit birthday. And the girl goes, you give me some tickets? And I said, I will. And she goes, hold on. And she goes and gives me 4 tickets. And she goes, here you go. Happy birthday. And we looked down, got from the second to last row in the 300 section to side of the stage, 14th row, right next to the pyro. Just by saying the truth that I am a pretty famous fucking comedian.
And to that girl's disappointment, those tickets for comedy night at Black Betty's Matt Bridgestone presents.
That's funny shit. Yes, that was not embarrassing. Was that an embarrassing story, Tom, or is it a work of genius?
Come on, I'm a pretty famous comedian.
I don't see the embarrassment there. It worked out.
I think just embarrassed that he didn't think of that beforehand.
How does this zero? How does this fucking zero have the nerve in public say, I'm a pretty famous comedian? How does he have the nerve to say that?
If it's a ballsy move, and I'll tell you why, because it has to work when you put that out there. If that doesn't come through, right, you're gonna look real bad. How do you walk away from that guest services dance?
But here's the worst part about it. If it was just my friends, I could have gotten away with it if it backfired. I had a comedian with me. So there was a comic witness. Do you realize what I would have gone through my entire life as a comedian had that not gone the way that I wanted it to go?
That's very true. That's very true.
I would have been called Shawnee Metallica the rest of my fucking career, or some sort of Metallica reference the whole time.
Now, I think Shawnee Metallica would have been a good nickname for you.
Shawnee Metallica. It's a good name. Yeah. I dig it.
Yeah. I gotta say though, Sean is probably the best person to go to a concert with. He really does. He is a concert aficionado. He knows the fucking ins and outs of going to a concert. It's kind of like the way you would do like your tailgate, Tom. Like you really seem to have that like on lockdown. That's the way Sean is. Like he knows where to park. He knows the right time to get there, the exact place time in the concert to leave. We went to Metallica. It was jam-packed. We parked basically in the fucking stadium. Okay. We tailgated a little bit and we left. We were out of there on the road, like on the highway. What would you say? 5-10 minutes?
10 minutes. Yeah.
That was insane.
I don't need to hear fucking Entertainment, man. I can get the hell out of there.
I've never, MetLife, that could be 45 minutes easy getting out of that parking lot.
No joke. Even with Starland. Even with Starland, you can get gnarled up for 10, 15 minutes going out of there. I'm out of there. I don't give a shit about the last song. I'll look at the set list. Yeah, I've heard the song 67 times. Let's get out of here. And you're already on the road before the friggin' band's even off the stage.
But even when we would go to Starland, and Tom, you got to come with us one time. Sean, you met Joe Gorglione. He was the guy I took to Dirty Honey.
Okay,
yeah,
I remember that. Was a good show.
That was a great show. Yeah, so even at Dirty Honey, jam packed. You can't move in there. We had a great spot. Zach Wilde, great spot. No, that was really good.
Next month, I'm thinking, Jeff, you're going to get a ticket and come to see Steel Panther with me. That's what I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, Steel Panther, man. They're still around, huh?
And it's a great show. It's a great show, man.
Do they do covers only, or are they just completely?
Oh, it's all original.
All original. But it's all like a kind of like a
it's like weird. It's like
homage to 80s metal.
It's all 80s metal, but it's kind of like Weird Al meets 80s metal, where they make like the spoof songs, but it's all done with like, hard rock and metal.
Yeah, I don't know if I like spoof songs.
Well, you don't want to
Weird Al Yankovic guy.
I met Weird Al Yankovic and he was like the nicest guy in the world. Really very nice. Signed something nice for me too. I didn't even ask him. He did it. Really very cool dude. But I mean,
you took Weird Al's autograph, but not Lenny Dykstra.
I had Lenny Dykstra. How many Lenny Dykstra autographs am I going to have? And how much is it going to really be worth? Not that I would sell it, but still.
So it's just about money to you, Jeff.
No, it's not. Again, I have the book Nails, which Tom was the ghostwriter for. Are you the ghostwriter, or did you actually get an author credit?
I got an author credit on the inside. I was bumped off the front cover because I successfully got a quote from Stephen King. There was maybe a pseudo embarrassing story that led up to that, which I tell in the book with a byline towards the back of the book as an afterward. We were trying to get his favorite author from when he was in prison, John Grisham, to write a little something for the book. And did I tell you that story? Did you read it?
Tell us. Come on.
So Lenny, during the book tour, he was he was living in my house, and we were making appointments. We were going on the air. We were, we got yelled at by the commissioner's office. That's a different story for another day.
if you remember this, it was a big deal. Lenny's book winds up being, I think, a number
we
one
were a bestseller for more than 2 months.
And I remember that was for
Times
a couple of
bestseller.
weeks was like a huge thing. He was on Stern. He was on the morning shows. He was on ESPN. I mean, but it was a real big thing. And I got to thank you for this. Before he even went on Stern, he came on mine and Kevin Goatee's dopey podcast that we used to do at Broadway Comedy Club. The only thing is we had wait, I think 3 days until the Stern interview aired before we could release the podcast.
Yes. Cool. Yes. I mean, yeah, they brought us out on ESPN's campus in Bristol, Connecticut. We went on every show over a day and a half that ESPN had. It was pretty cool. A lot of embarrassing moments for him there, but the one for me is, he tells me we're going to meet John Grisham. We're going to talk to him about the forward or whatever. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I mean, I've read a couple of Grisham books. Figured, it'd be pretty cool.
Everybody read The Firm.
Of course, better than the movie version, that's for sure. But so we're driving out to Charlottesville,
he was the keynote speaker
Virginia.
at my wife's graduation from vet school.
Really, he left the house for that. That's shocking. He's a recluse, this guy.
Yeah, but he's also a Southerner. She graduated from Mississippi State.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give too much information, but we, to get to his house, it's not easy. It's not like, take exit, 16 and make a right on this street and a left on that street.
Well, what's his address?
This man lives out where the Unabomber lives. He lives out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And when I say the middle of fucking nowhere, thank God I have a lot of different vehicles. Thank God I took the off-road Jeep. I thought it would be comfortable. There was no road. We're on dirt paths. I'm driving in between trees. This is not like an exaggeration. I mean, there is no way to get to this tract of land. We GPS was not working because I had no signal. Lenny Dykstra, this is a true story. Lenny Dykstra takes out like this portable satellite internet thing that at the time he paid for so that he had internet service anywhere. I had to connect to his little portable hotspot that was getting beamed down from the satellite so that I had GPS, because we're driving through like the fucking forest, like in Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm like, Lenny, this can't be right. He's like, trust me, bro. He lives out here.
John Grisham, Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah, it's all in the book. I mean, House of Nails. I mean, anybody could buy it. So, and anyways, after like this long trip out, thank God it was during the day. During the night, there was
you're in pitch blackness, right?
Oh yeah, it would have been terrible.
Was it even a road?
Not a road. There were dirt paths that maybe a small farm vehicle or like a very, very small van might be able to. I mean, it wasn't a road. It was definitely I'd call it a private path. Well, we're miles off the main road. I mean, he was out there. This man, I think he owned hundreds of acres. And so we finally get up to these big gates and there's a house behind it. I can see up on a hill. I said, okay, great. We're at his house. I said, what time's our appointment? And he looks at me and he says, what are you talking about, appointment? Lenny, you're fucking with me, right? And he goes, no. He goes, we don't have an appointment. He's like, we're here. We're just going to Pearl Harbor him. We're just gonna, we're gonna knock on the door. I brought a copy of the book. I got this. I'm like, you're really fucking with me right now. We're gonna get arrested. You can't just. This guy is living out in the middle of nowhere for a reason, And Lenny scales the fence. I don't really want to get too much into that.
He jumps over the fence.
Yeah. He opens it from the inside. Tells me to drive through. I figure, you know what? We're both in it now. I mean, I figure, fuck it. So. At this point, I hit the gas. I drive on up. I don't even know if there's people there. I don't know if it's even really John Grisham's house. I'm like, fuck it.
He could have killed you and no one would have found you for probably weeks.
Ever. I mean, they could have shot us with a rifle. They could have buried us out there. Nobody would have ever found us. We wound up talking to a guy named Travis who was like a caretaker there. And,
if you want to see John Grisham, young man, you're going to have to do a little Grisham to me.
He had a little bit of freak show in him. If you've seen that movie,
yes.
He was wearing overalls.
Yep.
He didn't have the face to match him, but he had basically everything else.
He didn't have the exploding pus boils.
No, he didn't have that, but he had the dark brown hair and overalls, funny. And I'm pretty sure this guy hadn't showered in a week. I mean, I don't know what he does for John Grisham, but called himself a caretaker. I mean, it was a pretty rough experience. Grisham was a little shook.
Well, you got to talk to John Grisham?
Very briefly. I don't think he appreciated us rolling up on him like that.
Get the fuck off my property. Was that the extent of the conversation?
He didn't do that, but he took a copy of the book manuscript. Lenny offered to sign a couple of things for him. Unlike Jeffrey Paul, Grisham took the autographs, said thank you.
Listen, John Grisham is no Jeffrey Paul.
He's not. He has. I'm not even going to go there, but I'll just say that he waved to us.
He has talent, charisma, money. I'll keep going. Good looks.
Good looks. He's in shape. Yeah.
He has a caretaker named Travis. I mean, all kinds of stuff. But he waved to us. He took the autographs. He asked a few questions, like to the extent of, "How did you find me? What are you doing here?" It was a little embarrassing. I was glad there was no law enforcement involved, and he took the book, but we never heard from him again. We did not get the forward. And when he said we wanted to go after Stephen King next, I set it up behind his back and let him think he was surprising Stephen King. But really, I had an appointment with his personal assistant. So
you weren't going to be in that situation again.
No.
So before we wrap this up, okay, the show is called Who's Your Band, and I don't know if we talked even a smidge of music yet. Is your favorite artist Springsteen?
I guess I would say that. I mean, I'm not a crazy fan. I mean, I like all kinds of music, but I've seen Bruce in concert probably more than anyone else.
So
I've probably seen Bruce 7 or 8 times.
That's pretty big. I mean, that's a big investment. That going to see Springsteen that many times. How did you wind up? First of all, favorite album by Springsteen?
Probably Born to Run.
We talk about this all the time on this show, and I think we say Springsteen had the best 3-album run of any artist.
Yeah, no question about it.
Born to Run, Darkness on the Edge of Town, The River. Besides the Beatles, is there a band that or artist that have put out 3 amazing albums in a row? Not
I'll say Pearl Jam's first.
Get out of here. The first 3 Pearl Jams you're going to put against those 3 Spring.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are on drugs. The first album, second album, not bad. The third album, it's good, but come on, it's not The River.
It's nowhere. Saying it's a good one, you fucking mook. Jesus Christ.
No.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Springsteen is he has one of the most misunderstood songs of all time with, Born in the USA.
Yes.
Most people think that's a very patriotic song. It's been, a couple of foreign Olympics, they played it, for US when athletes won, not understanding it. It's essentially, a mockery against the country. He's lamenting that he was born in the USA. It was an anti-war, anti-Vietnam song. And, people tend to think it's patriotic because of the chorus. And it's just not something that mainstream, well, especially now that it's been lost to a generation, people don't understand it. So I always found that interesting.
Do you have a favorite Springsteen song?
So I would probably want to pick something a little bit, it's a little bit less mainstream. I mean, he has a ton of hits. Maybe something like Brilliant Disguise. That's kind of a clever song. Or
that's not even an E Street Band song, I don't think. I think that's off of a solo album, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit later. How about 10th Avenue Freeze Out?
Oh, okay. You can't go wrong with that. That's a great song. That's a great in-concert song. Yeah, I mean, for me, when it comes to Springsteen, I still think "Prove It All Night" it never gets old. The live version from Phoenix in '78, when the album when that song just was coming out off of Darkness. Oh my God, man. The prelude leading up to it is just beautiful. It really is amazing. I still think The River is still like storyteller songs. That's a great storyteller song. And
I think you'd be more of a Tom Joad kind of guy then, with the guitar and all of that.
I do like Tom Joad, but I also started liking some of his latest stuff. And like, do you know the song "Living in the Future"?
Yes.
Great song, man. Off of Magic. What a great song that is. Yeah.
He's got a lot of more stuff, man, from the last 15 years goes unnoticed. It really does. But he's had some really, really amazing songs in the last 10, 15 years that people don't give enough credit to.
Yeah, you went to that big concert that's that Here and See song.
Here Now Festival. Yeah, that was one of the 30,000 Mongoloids standing on a fucking beach watching Springsteen for 3 hours. But I look back.
I saw the picture.
I look back.
Other funny.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say there's I'm just thinking of random pop culture references. There's actually a song by another popular artist. See if you can get it. That the chorus and the title is about Bruce Springsteen, but more so about him being misunderstood and mistook for being Bruce Springsteen from the '80s. Another '80s artist. I'll give you a hint.
Yeah, I know. Don't give me a hint. I know it already. Stop it. Is it Rick Springfield?
Yes.
Yeah. Come on,
Bruce.
Yeah. Listen. Do you know what show you're on? You're on Who's Your Band?
They both have a song named "Human Touch." A lot of similarities, and Springfield wrote a song about a girl he was about to bang, and he was about to get it in, and she called him Bruce.
That's right.
I bet he did it anyway.
No, that's great. That's a good story. That is. And also to bring it full circle, Sean Morton has a guitar signed by Rick Springfield.
Yes, I do.
He's the worst host on 80s on 8, by the way. You want to take a nap, just put him on. Oh my God.
You don't think he tells good stories?
Yeah, he's like the guy on the radio in Reservoir Dogs. Just speaking monotone. This here song reminds me of where I was food shopping in 1982, and I used to hear this song in the grocery store with my son. It'll just keep going on and on. It's like, Rick, shut the fuck up. Play the song, bro.
That is actually a pretty good impression of it. Is like that. He'll tell these stories that go nowhere. He'll be like, I remember in 1987, we were with men at work, and Colin Hay went up to me. I went up to him and said, "Hey," and he goes, "That's my last name." And now here's that Men Down Under.
No payoff.
You realize you're talking about yourself on every episode of this fucking podcast for the last 4.5 years, too, right?
What does that mean?
That you ask shitty questions and you contribute nothing to the show.
What are you fucking out of your mind? I will come over there and throw hot coffee in your face right now. Are you nuts?
Someone's Metamucil working tonight.
No, I gotta go to the gym after this.
Just after this.
I won't watch the debate.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be a good session time because Tom, Mets won, right?
They did. They pulled it out. Game 1, 8-4.
This is amazing.
Dream
this is
big.
a magic year, wouldn't you say?
Wide open, so I'd say dream big.
Now,
now,
you know what I say on social media, Jeff. I don't know if you saw it or not, but with the Mets making the playoffs this year, the tri-state white trash noise level is roughly 68% louder than normal.
Yes, I saw that. Chose to ignore it. No, but Tom, where are you ranking this Mets year right now? I mean, 86 and 80 and 69 are the two golden years.
Of course. Okay? You figure they have 11 playoff years, right? They've been around 62 years. Not so bad. 11 times in the postseason in 62 years. The problem is
better than the Jets percentage.
It's better than the Jets percentage. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, they've been in one Super Bowl and people were watching it on a 12-inch screen, black and white, with Howdy Doody coming on after it. I mean, that's not even fair.
It was Heidi that they got.
They switched to Heidi. That was later on, much later on. They switched to height, but I mean, brutal, absolutely brutal. 11 playoff runs in 62 years would be considered very, very respectable if they didn't have the team in the Bronx across town. So that's really the problem. But I think where they finish will determine. I mean, there's one interesting thing. I don't want to jinx it, but it's the Buck Showalter factor. You know what that is, right?
Yes, he'll bring teams. Okay, but he's a lot like Moses. He'll take you there, but Joshua will take you into Israel.
Yeah. So I mean, to clarify for people who aren't down with your Bible references, every time Buck Showalter gets fired, the next year the team wins the World Series. It's kind of like that bad Dane Cook movie. You like comics, every time he dated a girl, like every time she banged him, they got married. The next guy they dated. I can't even believe I'm actually, you know what? We were talking about embarrassing moments. It's pretty embarrassing. I remember that movie. Let's just edit that part out of this fucking podcast. I never saw it. Son of a bitch.
Now, Adam, you make sure. Okay, the first clip that we do on Reels, okay, that is it. And I want in red letters, Tom Borowski, and it's flashing, Tom Borowski.
I'm one of the 4 guys that saw that movie. I don't know why. I hope I was on a date. But anyway, I'll just tell you, every year after Buck Showalter gets fired, it started, with the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. The next year, the team wins the World Series. So Buck Showalter got fired last year. This year, the Mets are in the playoffs, and who knows? Maybe it'll be 3 for 3, and that'll be something of what legends are made of. And if they do go deep into the playoffs, this could be a top 5, top 3 season. You never know. They have a hell of a lineup. Pitching's a little shaky. They have a hell of a lineup.
You have your lock of the week, Jeff?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to make a prediction here, Jeffrey. Just so you know. My prediction is Doug Peterson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, should they lose this weekend, will be fired as the head coach and be replaced by Bill Belichick.
Let me tell you something. That happens. He does want to come back, and that would be a good landing spot for him. They do have a quarterback, okay, who they're definitely not getting enough out of. They have talent on defense, but they just look like they kind of like gave up. That wouldn't be a terrible landing spot for them.
This comes true. I am taking over Jeff's lock of the week for the week after. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be Shawnee's pick of the week.
And they could lose because they're playing the Colts. But the Jacksonville usually plays well against the Colts.
Doug Peterson, Jeff. You want to know where I know him from?
I have no idea where you would know him from.
I mean, I haven't seen him in 20 plus years, but
wait, hold on a second. I was gonna say, aren't you related to an offensive or defensive coordinator in the NFL?
Well, yeah, that's separately. Yeah, I'm gonna see him when he comes to town soon. My cousin Lou Anarumo, he's Lewis to me, but he's the DC, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals. That has nothing to do with Doug Peterson, though. He's just my cousin. Doug Peterson was a quarterback in the World League of American Football. You remember for what team? Probably have no clue. Who was there a New York team in that? Yes, the New York, New Jersey Knights.
I had
Giant Stadium.
I had season tickets to that. They played 4 games. Yeah. Some of those guys, lingered around, and when you played in Giant Stadium, you had access to a lot of I know who he played
in that
for.
era.
He played for the Frankfurt Galaxy.
No, he played for the New York team.
Did he?
You're a season ticket holder, and you don't even remember watching.
I don't remember that. You think I remember anyone on that stupid team? It was
Graham,
they played the game.
Todd Hamill. These are all their quarterbacks. I have a photographic memory. Doug Peterson was maybe their last quarterback. Don't think he did very well. They had, that league had a lot of guys who, couldn't cut it in the NFL or went back to the NFL. Doug Peterson, he hung around, started coaching, and now he's the head coach over there, at least until maybe next week. But I met a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, during my soccer days in Giant Stadium, a lot of people passed through there. There were a lot of alumni, a lot of football players, a lot of baseball players. Even, I got to meet a lot. That's how I met Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. I hung out with him. There's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, it's a good thing. I'm not telling any Lawrence Taylor stories on this show. I don't want to get in any trouble, but I mean, I have stories for days about some of those guys.
Oh, that's another thing, Sean. Right? I'm sorry to cut you off here, Tom, but because I know you would be a little too humble to say. So you'll see these pictures that pop up, and Tom will have these parties in his backyard. By the way, great party backyard. Okay, and he'll have Charlie Hayes. Have like this eclectic group of people. Charlie Hayes from the Yankees, Lawrence Taylor, okay, Kevin Mitchell, Lenny Dykstra, right? Good. They'll all be hanging out in his backyard. It's not even a backyard. It's like a Bronx barbecue going on back there. It's like you expect like Cat Williams or Slappy White to be showing up anytime soon, and Tom is sitting there. Slappy, yeah, I had to go Slappy White. I was trying to think of like the real most urban comic that I could think of.
We've had a lot of big names pass through. We've had a lot of people hang out. My wife loves Kevin Mitchell. She gives him hugs and kisses, even though he was, a gangbanger in San Diego. I've seen some things, man. I've seen some shit.
Super nice guy. He did a solid for, Sean, do you know Harris Stanton?
Yeah, we had him on the show.
Yeah, Harris is a really good comedian. He toured with Tracy Morgan. He's always on the road with Dean Edwards now. Great guy. Played minor league ball. We should get him to play in one of these leagues, Tom. You would love him. Okay, really, really good guy. His father's favorite baseball player was Kevin Mitchell. And when we were up in Cooperstown,
I remember this.
Yeah,
I remember.
Harris asked me, he goes, "Hey, any chance you can get Kevin Mitchell to just do a video for my dad? He just retired, and that's his favorite player." So I went up to Mitchell. I asked him to do the video. Couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been better. Gave a great video. I sent it to Harris, and it made his father's day. So I always thought that was like a very cool thing that Mitchell did. Hey, listen, man, people are different when they're young. This is my wrap up. This is my Jerry Springer moment here. People when they're younger they do foolish things, but when they get older they change and they wisen up.
I wish you were like Springer right now.
We can't top that, guys. Tom, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know, we had to pull you away for the last couple of innings of the Met game, so that's a big deal. I must be a good friend of his for him to do that for me. Sean, where are you going to be? What's going on with you?
What do I got coming up? I'm just going to plug New Year's. We got a gig coming up October 17th, I think it is. We're in the Lambertville station in Lambertville, right. New Jersey with Tim and I. That's and right. Then I'm just going to plug New Year's Eve. Yeah, New Year's Eve. I'm headlining Laugh It Up Comedy Club in Poughkeepsie, New York. My second time headlining New Year's Eve there, and it's they bring in 400 or 500 people that night, so it's going to be a nice show.
Cal is the best. I was just up there on Saturday. Okay, so this Thursday night, I am at Catch a Rising Star with Mike Marino. And then the following weekend, I will be there for the whole weekend at Catch with the legendary Bob Nelson. And like Sean said, I'll be over at Lambertville Station, and I'm headlining what's his name? Tommy's Basement. And so October, all over Jersey, guys. Follow me on Jeffrey Paul Comic on Instagram and Facebook and all the cool shit. And keep following, keep subscribing, and we appreciate it. We'll catch you later, guys. Take care, everybody.
Later.